every authentic movement in the church that lasts has been a movement of prayer. Every single one. There are church movements that have not lasted. I've got books in my office written by authors who have discovered the secret to growing a church, and those movements have not lasted. But every church movement that is founded on prayer has stood the test of time. It really just starts in the stories in the Bible. Whether it's the story of Israel in the Exodus, when they cry out to God, and it says that in Exodus 3 that God heard and that God knew what was going on in their life. You can move on from that to the story of the Israelites coming out of the exile in Babylon when they are repentant and falling on their face, not just because of their sin, but because of the sins of their fathers and grandfathers, and asking for God's movement, and He does it. You can talk about the first coming of the Holy Spirit at Pentecost, and how does that happen? Because Jesus tells the church, stay in Jerusalem, gather together, and pray, and 120 people just gather every day, praying like Jesus tells them, and the Holy Spirit comes. You can talk about God calling Paul and Barnabas, the first missionaries that we find in the church, and He does it because the church was praying, and you can see it again and again and again throughout church history, whether it's great men like Martin Luther, who were known to pray for hours a day, whether it's missionary movements like William Carey or the Great Haystack Prayer Meeting that just were spawned by incredible moments where God's people in the church decided to pray. And we can then take that outside of the church, because it's not about building a brand or an identity, but we can say, if you want a movement of God in your life that lasts, you must pray. You cannot do it alone. Paul does not tell Timothy, I can't say it enough this morning. He does not tell Timothy, okay, we've talked about the gospel, now it's time to build this church. Let's talk about practical tools for Bible reading. Let's talk about getting a reminder on your phone. Let's talk about how you're going to get a great children's check-in system so that parents come in and they just feel like everything here is safe and awesome and this is the happening place to be. He doesn't say any of that. He says, first of all, let your church pray.